Welcome back to the Growth Snack. Today we're getting into a book that really pushes boundaries on, well, what we think humans are capable of. We're talking David Goggins' Can't Hurt Me. Master your mind and defy the odds.
That's the one. And for this deep dive, drawing from the book you shared with us, we're aiming to pull out the really impactful stuff, the stories, the insights.
Yeah, trying to get to the core of his philosophy, how he built that incredible mental strength.
Exactly. How did he do it?
Okay, let's jump in. The book starts, and it starts heavy, right? Laying out this foundation of just intense hardship from childhood.
Oh, absolutely. It's a difficult picture. He talks about growing up with his dad running Skateland and the Vermilion Room, this roller rink and bar.
In Buffalo, yeah.
Right. And it was dominated by fear, physical abuse. He mentions belt beatings, a panic button, the psychological side of feeling hunted, you know?
Yeah, and that feeling of helplessness, like the police ignoring his mother's pleas. That must have been incredibly isolating for them.
It sounds like it. He mentions his mom trying these small things like Boy Scouts, almost searching for any sign that they mattered, that things weren't totally hopeless.
Then they managed to escape, right? They moved to Brazil, Indiana.
Yes, but escaping the abuse didn't mean life got easy. Then it was poverty, a whole different kind of struggle.
Right.
He talks about, counting pennies, staying in a Holiday Inn because they had nowhere else, waiting around for car repairs they could barely afford, just constant stress.
And this whole period seems to lead up to this pivotal moment he calls the accountability mirror.
Yes, this is after serious struggles in school, too. He admits to cheating, changing F's and D's to B's and C's on his report card. Almost didn't graduate.
Wow.
And then he has this, brutally honest look at himself, sees this guy he calls a low-budget thug, realizes he doesn't stand for anything, hates what he sees.
That's a rough realization. But it sounds like it was the catalyst he needed.
Yeah.
And it led to this idea about motivation.
Right. He basically says motivation is crap, it's fleeting, it's unreliable.
Doesn't last.
Exactly. For real change, he knew he had to, rewire his own brain, take total ownership no matter how bad his starting hand was.
Okay, so here's where the story takes that big turn, right? The inspiration for the SEALs comes from TV.
Kind of amazing, isn't it? He sees a show about BDS, about Hell Week, sees these guys suffering horribly, and feels jealous.
Jealous? While he's, nearly 300 pounds at this point?
Yep. Close to 300 pounds, goes to recruiters, they laugh at him, literally laugh.
Ouch. So he decides to start running, aiming for miles.
4 miles was the goal. He makes it maybe 400 yards, just breaks down, crying, reaching for a milkshake. Total failure.
The point where most people would just stop. Forever.
But then he sees Rocky, that clip from round 14, just refusing to quit, and something clicks.
What does he do?
Dumps the shake, goes right back out immediately, pushes through all that pain just to get 1 mile done. Ugly, painful, but he did it, chose the discomfort.
And that's not even mentioning the academic side, like the ASV test struggles.
Oh yeah, that was a whole separate battle he had to fight multiple times.
So this seems like the birth of his whole philosophy.
Yeah.
Embrace pain, callous the mind.
Absolutely. You have to seek it out, he argues. Fall in love with suffering, almost. That's how you forge weakness into hardness. He goes into detail about Hell Week.
Yeah.
The 130 nonstop hours, the cold, zero sleep, the grinder, the steel pier, just relentless physical and mental anguish.
So it's not just about weeding out the physically weak.
Not primarily, no. The book frames it as revealing character, your inner heart. The key is knowing why you're there, your purpose. That's what keeps you going when quitting seems like the only option.
And remembering the pain is temporary.
It's finite. It will end. That's crucial. And this idea of the second wind, it's not about waiting until you feel better. It's about pushing harder right when you feel completely defeated, digging deeper.
He contrasts himself with that athlete, Sean Dobbs.
Right. Dobbs quits over foot pain that Goggins implies was maybe more mental than physical. Goggins sees that as giving up your soul, taking the easy path when the mind could have pushed through.
Okay, this calloused mind idea.
Yeah.
It sounds harsh. Necessary, maybe, but harsh.
He frames it as necessary for that world, for special ops, being able to function under insane pressure. It's not about being cold in everyday life necessarily, but building resilience, mental armor.
So what tools did he actually develop? We talked about the accountability mirror for the self-critique part.
Yeah, but he flips it too. Uses the mirror to celebrate the small wins. He says, very few of us actually stop and acknowledge our successes.
That's true.
So you use those past wins, big or small, as fuel, not ego, but utility. Proof you can do hard things.
And the cookie jar, how did that work?
The cookie jar is huge for him. It's like a mental file cabinet. You intentionally store memories of overcoming past suffering, past achievements, graduating high school against the odds,
passing the ASVAB finally,
losing over 100 pounds, beating his fear of water, getting through BUDS, ranger school, all those moments. And things get incredibly tough now. He mentally reaches into that jar, pulls out a cookie, and reminds himself, I've done hard things before. I can do this.
It's like tangible proof of past resilience. What about doubt? Everyone feels doubt.
Oh, yeah. He acknowledges it's normal, like evolutionary wiring trying to keep us safe. But you can't let doubt drive the bus.
The pilot seat, yeah.
Right. Acknowledge it's there, maybe in the backseat yelling directions, but you refuse to listen. You pull out a cookie instead, shift the narrative.
And visualization.
Yeah.
It's not just wishful thinking.
No, he's very clear. You cannot visualize lies. It only works if you've already done the brutal, uncomfortable work. It's visualizing the process you've practiced, not some fantasy outcome.
He also touches on using racism he faced as fuel, seeing it as the other person's insecurity.
Refusing to let it define or diminish him, turning negative energy into motivation.
Let's talk about the physical extremes, running on broken legs and BUDS. Seriously.
Yeah, stress fractures. He just reframed it, focused intensely on the immediate task. You are 20 minutes in the business. The pain was real, but it became almost like feedback, proof he could endure.
Wow. And the swim test with hands and feet bound.
Struggled with the dolphin kick, felt like drowning, so he practiced that feeling until it wasn't terrifying anymore. Deliberate exposure to conquer fear. Then, his ultramarathons later, Badwater.
Right, the 135-mile race in Death Valley.
Oh, no.
And running 205 miles nonstop later.
Facing new challenges, heat, more stress fractures, horseflies he called biblical, but pushing through, finishing 5th in his first Badwater, constant adaptation.
But then came something totally unexpected, right? The heart condition.
Yeah, the ASD, atrial septal defect, a hole in his heart, found completely by chance, basically.
Which made everything he'd already done even more dangerous. Diving, jumping, huge risks.
Embolism, stroke, cardiac arrest. The doctors were apparently stunned he'd survived BUDS, let alone everything else.
And for Goggins, that was the ultimate proof.
That it was never about perfect genetics. It was his mind. He was, like he says, running on a tank, perpetually half full, but mentally overriding physical limitations.
The Navy suggested retirement. How did he take that?
He refused. Absolutely refused to accept that narrative, that limitation. Found another doctor, accepted a non-deployable role temporarily while recovering. He wasn't going to just stop. His training was for life, not just the military.
Which fits perfectly with that starting at zero idea he talks about.
Exactly. The work is never done. You're never there. Always seeking improvement, always learning. Shedding scuba gear to learn freediving.
Triathletes learning rock climbing.
Successful people learning new languages or skills, embracing being the beginner, the dumb fuck in the classroom, as he puts it, to keep expanding.
He showed that in Ranger School too, right? Focusing on teamwork.
Yeah, despite the brutal conditions there, mountains, freezing swamps, he focused on helping his peers, leading by example. Earned enlisted honor man, 100% pure evils. Being uncommon among uncommon meant lifting others up too.
And he had aspirations for the top tier, DTV GRU. Stayed focused.
Studied tactics relentlessly while others socialized. Didn't compromise his drive.
Let's touch on setbacks. The pull-up record attempt seems like a big one, especially failing on the Today Show.
Oh, yeah. He failed a few times, that public one being particularly rough. And his analysis is interesting.
How so?
He realized he hadn't respected the record enough, hadn't controlled the environment, got distracted by the cameras, the bubbly looky-loos, the selfie era, as he called it.
So the lesson wasn't just try harder.
No, it was about confronting the entitled mind, the part of you that thinks you deserve it because you worked hard. He realized he hadn't actually earned it in that moment, on that.
Okay, so pulling it all together from the book you shared, what's the core message you take away from Goggins' story and philosophy?
I mean, it's an extreme example, obviously. But his life, as he tells it, is this powerful testament to the mind's ability to just shatter perceived limits, overcoming insane adversity, self-doubt.
By leaning into discomfort.
Yes, embracing pain, callousing the mind, using all your past experiences, good and bad, as fuel, and just committing to constant hard growth, never thinking you've arrived.
It's definitely not a comfortable message, is it?
Yeah.
But compelling. So for you listening to this deep dive, maybe the question is, what's your own governor? That self-limiting belief, that comfort zone you're stuck in. Could applying even a tiny bit of this intensity, this willingness to face discomfort, help you push past it.
What's one small thing you could do, maybe even today, to start callousing your own mind? Or add a positive memory, a cookie, to your own jar?
Definitely something to chew on.
Oh, sure.
Well, thanks for joining us on The Growth Snack for this look into Can't Hurt Me. And thanks again for sharing the book with us.
Always a pleasure. Until next time.